Hey folks, and thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate you following me on Substack, and this is a new audio and visual recording of the One.Stop.Over podcast. And I'd like to thank all of those of you who have subscribed to my Substack newsletter and engaged with me. I really appreciate you taking the time to read, listen, and now watch the content I'm producing on Substack. And also, the most important part to me is that you're engaging with me. I love the questions, I love the comments, and this is just a quieter, calmer, and more peaceful corner of the internet, and I'm really happy to be spending time there with fellow creatives, learning and sharing my experiences. So today, I want to talk just briefly a little bit about the trip that myself and my family just took. I'll have a written piece out probably in the next couple of weeks. I have about 15 rolls of film to develop from the trip, so I've got to do that first, and then I've got to go through and make my edits and do my post-processing on the images, and then I'll write something around that. But to give you an idea of what we just spent the last 10 days doing, we flew into Phoenix, Arizona, early morning last Thursday. And from there, we drove up to Page, Arizona. We spent one night there and then a full day the following day. We went to Antelope Canyon and we went to Horseshoe Bend, and then we did some hiking in local park area right out there in the desert, which was fantastic. From Page, we then drove over to a small town, remote town called Jacob Lake, which is at the gateway to the north rim of the Grand Canyon. And at this time of year, the canyon on the north side is closed because many of the roads are still covered in snow. And while we were there, we did have some snow one day, which made for a beautiful morning hike. And we also had some fun doing some off-road driving in the Jeep that we hired while we were out there. Jacob Lake is a very small town, remote, and this time of year not very busy, but because it does sit at the gateway to the Grand Canyon, I can anticipate that it's an extremely busy location in the summer when things start to get warm. We had a wonderful time there, exploring around the area. We spent some time looking at sites along the Vermilion Cliffs. We went to the Navajo Bridge area, and then from there we drove up to Zion National Park, where we had 3 days and 2 nights, which was essentially filled with hiking and spending time in the park. By this point, everyone had kind of acclimated reasonably well to altitude, although a couple of us started to get, I would probably call it like desert sickness. Definitely the dust in the air was creating some congestion, so there were a few of us who were sneezing a lot, but we had a fantastic time regardless. And after a couple of nights there, we then headed on to Bryce, which completely different park at even higher elevation. And for those of us who live, about, I don't know, maybe at the most 100 feet above sea level here on the East Coast, it's quite a change once you get up close to 10,000 feet, but everybody in the family did well. We didn't have any problems, and after a day or two we were well acclimated and had no problems with our hikes. From Bryce, we then headed back down to the south rim of the Grand Canyon, where we had 2 days. We didn't do anything too strenuous there. We just did a pretty significant stretch of the rim hike, which is nice and level, but lots of beautiful views, and spent time in Grand Canyon Village before heading home. And it was a fantastic trip. It's a part of the country I had not spent any time in at all previously. My wife had not been to any of the 3 parks either. So it was great to go explore somewhere that none of the family had been to. We had a fantastic time. The weather was extremely cooperative. It was great to be outdoors, and despite the concerns about what we were going to anticipate when we got to the parks, especially Zion, which is extremely popular. The parks did not seem overcrowded, and I think that's probably because we were at the tail end of spring break with Easter. There was definitely a notable reduction in park staff on the ranger side, but programs were still running. I can see that they probably are going to have some concerns over the summer, which is a shame because a large number of people visit the parks in the summer, and that's when they're going to have a lot more traffic. But overall, the parks didn't feel crowded. There were no significant waits getting into either of the three parks we visited. And I really, really look forward to sharing some of the imagery that I've created with you once I've got all my film processed, and I'll be doing that over the next coming weeks. I do have a couple more Substack articles kind of in the bag, ready to go, because I was trying to be in a position where I have a couple more sort of ahead of myself, so that when it comes to taking a vacation, I'm not having to write or do any of the production while I'm away. Because I find when I put myself in that kind of position, I put pressure on myself, and then I'm not enjoying it as much. So I took, kind of 2.5 weeks off, and so my Substack also kind of took a break as well, although I did, post some stuff to notes. But just to let you know, I'm back. I really look forward to sharing this trip with you, and I can't believe that we were just talking about this. In a little over 3 months' time, we'll be spending 2 weeks in Europe. So we'll take a couple of weeks off here, but then we've got to start planning the kind of remnants of that trip, like our accommodation and our car rental or transportation while we're there. But again, thanks for joining me. Thanks for engaging and subscribing. And I really, really appreciate all of you who have taken the time to listen to this and to read and comment on my other articles posted on Substack. Thank you.